What is up, YouTube? Francis here, back at it again with another video, and I want to talk about one of the biggest observations that I made just this past month, and something that I wanted to fix ever since I started being a dungeon master when I first started playing D&D, and that is killing my players by making my monsters too busted. There are often times where I would make a custom stat block, or I would make a villain where on paper they don't seem OP, but in the game I would somehow kill my characters because they were too busted. So I'm going to go into the different ways of how I make monsters stat blocks for combat and share some of my observations. So as a DM, there are three main ways to make a custom stat block, where A, I make a player character sheet, B, I take an existing stat block from a monster, I reskin it, add or take away some abilities, and I make a stat block based on that previous stat block. Or I would use the monster manuals, no, not the monster manuals, the Dungeon Master's Guide, create a monster table, and we'll get to that a little bit shortly. But I want to take the same character, the same DM NPC, and take them in all three ways, and you'll realize that you have so many different things, and they're not as equal as you might think. So in this video, we're going to make a level 3 or a CR of 3 Barbarian Berserker. So let's jump in. So here is the stat block for a Berserker Barbarian, okay? It has a 13 AC, 67 hit points. It has all of these stats, and you'll see that it has a Reckless ability. So if you don't know what Reckless is, it means the Berserker gains advantage for all of their attacks, but all the opponents receive also have advantage against you until the start of your next turn. And it says right here too. But pay a close attention to the AC, the HP, and the abilities, okay? One thing you'll notice is right off the bat, if you've ever played a Barbarian, is that you don't have your Rage ability. So let's jump into the player character sheet, okay? So let's assume we have a D12 plus our con. Let's just say we have the minimum lowest con modifier as possible. So at the bare minimum, that is 36 plus 3, 39 HP as a level 3 barbarian, or 38, excuse me. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty bad. So, you know, that's how it is. You have your Rage ability, okay? So you take half damage from bludgeoning, piercing, from non-magical attacks. You have your Unarmored Defense, your Reckless Attack, your Danger Sense, your blah blah, and you realize that you have so much more abilities as a player character Berserker versus the DM NPC Berserker. Now, finally, let's go to my Dungeon Master's Guide over here. Now, if you haven't used this, it is on page 274. And as a CR3, the table isn't really meant for guessing abilities. I usually take this table as a one-stop shop of guesstimating monsters individually against groups. So a CR3 Barbarian Berserker, it would have 115 HP, okay? It is +2, 13 AC, which compared to the Berserker is pretty much the same, but for the Barbarian class, 10 plus Dex plus Con, assuming these stats, okay, your AC would be 14 instead of 13. And the reason why I bring this up is because there would be so many times where I would make player character monsters with their stats, and I would kill my players. easily because they have so much more flexibility. As a DM, you have to realize that your monsters should have less abilities than your players. Usually this is the case. It differs when you're playing with, you know, legendary monsters or monsters in lair actions. Those are different things that we'll get to sooner or later on this channel. But the way I use this table is I usually take the CR of the monster and I equate it with the CR of my party. So let's take, if you've been watching my D&D live stream that I do every single Monday on this channel, you would know that the CR of my, or the level of my party, they are level 9. After that, I ask myself, okay, am I playing these monsters in a group, in a party, or maybe it's just one lone monster, because that will determine whether or not I go up or I go down. So let's say I have, I don't know, a pack of, I'm modifying the stats for a party of gnolls, hunting pack, but their party is level 9. So what I do is I will go down here to 7. I'll usually look at these proficiencies, ACs, damage, and most importantly, their health. Because gnolls, if you know what gnolls can do, they basically attack like just regular humanoids. So I think it's okay to give them more HP, let my players have a little bit more fun trying to deal with them. And you probably are asking me, Francis, why 7? Well, you could go 8. I mean, it really depends on the number of your monsters that you're creating these stat blocks for. Let's say we're fighting against, I don't know, a lone, I don't know, maybe the party is fighting the frost giant Gracchus the Subjugator, and they are fighting him alone, and he has abilities, okay, and maybe, I don't know, maybe an enchanted weapon. And let's say the party is 9, right? I would make Gracchus, I would bump him up maybe to 11 or 12. You kind of have to guesstimate on this. But with the enchanted items, I would probably bring him down to at 10 or 11, and probably stick with an 11. You know, making these stat blocks can be really tricky, and frankly, it's a lot of guesswork. And hopefully, by showing you the way I design monsters, it kind of minimizes that guesswork a little bit. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you found this useful by leaving down in the comments down below. What was the most fun time you killed your players? I would love to know. And frankly, I hope you have a fantastic day. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, because I post new videos every single week. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.